So again, this may look simple, but does this feel particularly easy?
No.
No. What's going on, everybody? Sam Brown here with Brian Carroll, jumping back into the lower back, jumping into everything Mcgill method, and we are very excited to show you the warm-up sequence that you utilize with your clients, right?
Yep.
So, four-pronged approach?
Yep.
All right, what do we got?
The first part is always breaking a sweat. You break a sweat before you even get started. With our client here, Jen, she's already been jumping rope. She did a couple suitcase carries to kind of prime herself. The second part that we're going to get into is the three-pronged attack of the Mcgill Big 3, which is the Birddog, the side plank, and the curl up, and their variants, which we're going to get into. So let's go ahead and start with the Birddog now. So Jen, come on over. So I want you in the quadruped, please. We're going to do the Birddog. So what we're going to do starting off, I'm going to let her go into her normal deal because she is familiar with the Birddog, and then I'm going to correct her. But she's in the quadruped. She's locking in right now. She's stiffening her core. She's pushing out laterally. She's pulling her lats down. And so now what she's going to do now is she's going to use proximal stiffness to unleash distal mobility. Okay? So now she's going to stabilize, and she's going to raise one arm forward and one leg back. So a couple cues here is right away, push the earth away and get a little taller, right there, but don't twist, right there. Good. Now I want you to really get that hip extended. So her leg is nice and good right now. I might lower it a hair, but I want you to really drive that heel back and toe down. There you go. So heel back, toe down. There we go. So that really turns on the glute there. She's stable. Yes, she's nice and stable. These are done best for about a 10-second hold, doing the Russian pyramid, starting with 3 or 4 sets, eventually going 5 sets, resting 4 sets, resting 3, you can relax. But to start, these things are a lot more difficult than you think by doing them. Many people that come to see me have been doing Birddogs and Mcgill 3 for years, but they're not using the neuromuscular aspects of squeezing and making everything tight. Go ahead and get into another Birddog for me.
Same leg?
Yeah, let's go the opposite now. Let's see if we need any corrections. Okay, so each side's gonna be a little bit different. So I want her to get a little taller, just a little taller here. That's it, that's all you got, okay? Drive the heel back, lift it, now toe down. There we go, good. Heel back, toe down, nice and stable. Now relax. So with the Birddog, I've had many people that have come to see me that have been doing these for years, and they aren't doing them intentionally. This is a very difficult exercise. You probably see sweat starting to bead on Jen's face a little bit. You're pushing the earth away actively. You're activating the T-spine. You're getting hip extension. You're making everything hard. So get into a position for me again. You're making everything hard from your fist. Go ahead and get you're making everything hard from your fist all the way across into a half X, into the glute where you're extending the hip and stabilizing here. Nice and hard. And in between reps, we sweep the floor and come in and then back out. No motion in the back. Right there, good. To start with, 3 to 4 sets of 10-second hold, intentional, and then you relax. From there you can build up to sets of 5, and then 4, then 3. The Russian pyramid is illustrated in Gift of Injury and Back Mechanic. Sam, you want to talk about a couple of regressions now for the Birddog?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're dealing with somebody that may have a potential low back injury or something going on.
Shoulder,
absolutely. Mm-hmm. One of the things that you really want to focus in on is this starting position, right? So you have to make sure that they are aware of what their torso is doing before you really focus too much on the legs and the arms, because if this isn't where it needs to be, then everything else is just going to go downhill from there. So one regression that you can utilize to get, again, just to kind of facilitate someone getting better and better at these over time, is you start by creating that tabletop position, right? So everything is braced, lats are pulled down, core is nice and tight. And what we can do is we can segment this into 2 different parts. We can start with fist only. So let's start by concentrating on stabilizing through the 3 points of contact you have and just pulling that fist out forward. So, yep. So again, this may look simple, but does this feel particularly easy?
No.
No. This is a tough variation, right? So what you can do is you can work with somebody Really focusing on the position of the upper body, focusing on driving that fist through the wall, focusing on maintaining that tension and that stability through the core, because as this is moving, this still needs to remain stable. So you can relax. And you can do the same thing for the lower half. You can do one leg at a time. This one is actually a little bit tricky because a lot of people think, again, this is very easy, but if you're doing it right with the correct intention, it's not particularly easy. So again, we want to brace here and we'll do this leg out. Drive that heel back. Good, perfect. Really, again, driving that heel to the back wall, focusing in on maintaining that stability here while we extend out that leg. Again, not particularly easy, right?
No, sir.
No, perfect.
One of the most common things I see is the leg jacked up in the air, the leg flexed,
Yeah.
and it ends up hurting these athletes more than helping them, because they end up having that movement instead of coming out of their hip, it ends up coming out of their lower back. So Jen, if you would demonstrate a couple with the leg too high in the air for me so you guys see. I'm sure you guys have seen this probably done wrong more than right. Sometimes you get really lucky and you see one like this where they're dipped forward like this. And it's not to be funny, but this is not a correct bird dog. They're loose, I could just push her over, no problem. That's not what it's about. Another one is where they just get kind of humped over into a little bit of T-spine, they're just kind of like rounded over a little bit. They're not facilitating the entire system. It should be everything. So you can relax before you create some bad
Another
injuries.
common one is when they bring, if you want to, we'll get it one more time. Here we go. Earning it here today. So I wanted you to do a regular bird dog, just a good one. So do a good bird dog. And now when you come in, you'll see a lot of people try to touch knee to elbow. So bring that in all the way. And you see that lower back start to flare up. Mm-hmm. So imagine you're trying to bring your knee in even more. Boom. You see that lower back start to flare and that pelvis start to rock as well.
Yes. One bonus progression for you that a lot of people that are sick of doing bird dogs and they want a challenge but they're not ready to progress to real lifting is the square patterns.
Oh, yep.
People love that. And so let's do one more bird dog. Have you done square patterns before?
Yes, I think I have.
Okay. So all we're doing is we're trying to do the most small and precise square possible. So the way I teach it through the ball and socket is up, over, down, back. Up, over, down, back. And you match the hip and the shoulder together. So go into a bird dog for me. Hold that. So I just want you only moving at the ball and socket. So it's up, over, down, back. Up, over, down, back. Up, over, down, back. Those square patterns look easy. They are not easy at all. And what you don't want is range of motion. You're only unleashing the ball and sockets. You can relax there. You got anything else for the bird dog?
I think that looked pretty good.
Do not underestimate the benefit of these and the difficulty of these. So we're going to roll right into the second part of the big three, and you're going to teach the side plank.
Yeah, here we go. So now, ready?
Yes, sir.
Side plank. So again, it's another variation of a core exercise that gets kind of bastardized quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what I want you to demonstrate is if I were to tell you just do a side plank, let's just see what it looks like.
Can we turn towards you or turn that way?
Let's turn towards the camera. She learned well. That like screwed me up for a second. She's good. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have you demonstrate a not so good side plank. So
Oh.
you just fucking knocked it out of the park on that one. I was like, I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So here we go. So we'll just get into think commercial gym side plank.
Oh.
Oh, I know. It's hideous.
Sagging.
Sagging, right? So even stack the feet. We'll go over that.
Oh,
as
I've
well.
seen that.
Yeah. All right. So Exhibit A is what you will more than likely see in a commercial gym setting and for most people when they do a side plank. Again, the intention should be to fire up the side of the core or those obliques, right? In this position, there doesn't seem to be much activity in the side of the core as much as there is in the whole body, right? So the stability isn't there, the point of the exercise isn't being done, and it just looks kind of silly. So what we want to do is when we are learning the side plank, and this is something that really humbles a lot of people, because when they start doing it correctly, all of a sudden they start to feel the correct musculature they're supposed to feel, and they're like, whoa, I've been doing this wrong my entire life. So what we'll do is we're actually going to have you start on your elbow and on your side, right? Kind of in that almost fetal position, right? So one point of that I want to make here is if someone had fairly severe low back pain, look at this arch here, right? What we don't want to see is that sagging. So what I would say is push the hip. There you go. And you can kind of drive that elbow into the ground more. Actually scooch it in line with the shoulder. Good. So now what you see is that more of a neutral spine. It is in a much more straight pattern. And if she had any sort of lower back issue that would be aggravated by a side plank, or that she thought she would have with a side plank, that would be kind of mitigated with that proper position. So from here, we actually initiate that side plank from the knees, all right? Thinking of the side plank as more of a hip hinge forward, as opposed to you just pulling yourself up off the ground. So what I want you to do, we'll drive that elbow into the ground, get nice and tight.
Drive that lat.
Yep. Lat down, stabilizing that core, not allowing it to move.
Sip some air.
Yep. And what I want you to do is think about, in a deadlift, just bringing your hips forward to the front of the room, all right? Squeeze the butt, driving it through. You can come even more. There you go. So this would be the first progression of a side plank I would give to most people, because again, this allows you to, again, do you feel it in that oblique?
Relax.
Yep, you can relax.
Thank you.
How'd that feel? Pretty good?
Yeah, actually, yes.
So that variation is a very quick way to kind of demonstrate the purpose of a side plank. See, with the Mcgill Big 3 is that we're trying to work on the stability of the core 360 degrees. We're trying to work on the side planks. We're trying to work on the front of the core as well as the back. All right, guys, so now that we've gone over the basic side plank, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start kind of advancing it, making it a little bit more difficult. So what we'll do is we'll come down here. So the next progression, what we're gonna be going over is how to make this movement more difficult. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be going up into the side plank that we just did. So we'll just push the hips forward and come straight up. And now what we do, instead of coming from the knees, we're gonna set the feet. So I'm gonna have you bring the feet out straight. Yep, 1, 2. So if you notice, you wanna come around here, her feet are offset. They are not stacked. The reason we do this is we wanna take as much pressure off of that lumbar spine as we possibly can and allow for the stability in that core to do the work, all right? Brian, you wanna jump right in?
Yeah, so from here, once someone becomes very proficient in the regression from the knees, then they're actually doing a true side plank there. It's a good thing we have the feet staggered, because we're gonna go right into a roll. And this is where people get a lot of money out of the side plank. Now, a side note, there's some people due to shoulder issues and elbow issues that really aren't gonna be able to do too many side planks. A good substitute for this is always a good suitcase carry, which can take the place of the side plank, but ideally, just about in every program, again, it depends, I would have someone doing a variation of the side plank and suitcase carries, but not everyone can do that.
Right.
So let's go ahead and set up again on your feet for me. So we're doing,
Stand up?
No, I'm sorry,
Oh.
set up on sides of your feet, your ankles there. You're gonna get up. So we're gonna hold this for about 5 seconds. Then I want her to roll as one onto her other side, performing a full side plank roll, but we want her rib cage and her pelvis to stay as one. We don't want her twisting. So show us a nice, good roll here. You go faster than that if you want. Good. You're gonna hold that for 5 seconds or so. Notice there's no sagging here. You see anything you need better, Sam, on that side?
Sounds good to me.
Roll to the other side. Good, hold. If you're feeling real strong, you can make a fist and grab some air up there if you want. If you're feeling real sassy, then roll to the other side. Good, and see how important it is for the feet? You have some people, you can relax, Jen. You have some people, they can't get their feet right, and as you see, doing a side plank, if your feet, some people are trying to do this number right here, you need them staggered so you can roll right into it. Boom, boom, boom. Feet just like that. If you have them tangled up, you're not going to be able to roll, and it's going to be defeating the entire purpose of the side plank. Okay, so we've hit the bird dog, which is posterior once again, as Sam outlined earlier. Posterior, hitting the trunk. Then we went lateral with the side planks and the variance there. Now we're going to go more anterior. So for the six-pack muscles, we're going to have Jen lay on her back now. Good. All right. So here's what I look for right away. So I want you to do a curl up. Just do it how you do it, and then we'll make some modifications. All right. So what I want you to do now is, before you even get your elbows forward, I want you to put your hands behind there, behind your small of your back. So the hands back here to support the small of the back. Sometimes people have a big arch, so a lot of the time the hands feel good down there. People with shoulder issues or elbow issues sometimes can't get their hands back there. So we have them place their fingers on their abdominals to make sure it's nice and hard. It's not ideal, but it's a way you can do it. So what I want her to do is I want her to wing her elbows forward just a hair, okay? Now I want you to suck in your air and become stiff. And I want you to bring your head up just enough as if it were on a scale that weighs 0. Now tuck your chin a hair, just not that much, just a hair. And I want you pushing out hard, hard, hard. Good, 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 good. Relax. So earlier, when we were standing up doing the balance test, we talked about power breathing. So now to get a little bit more intra-abdominal pressure, we're gonna have her do some power breathing. So Jen, I want you to get your elbows forward first. I want you to lift up your head. And I want you to power breathe and get stiff, stiff. Good. Good, see, much more tight there. Nice, nice, nice. Relax. Okay, switch legs, do the same thing. So minimal head movement. We want to support the lumbar spine. This is especially if you do have some flexion intolerance or the back history like Sam and I have talked about. This might not be a great exercise for you right away, but it's certainly not going to be a good exercise for you if you're not doing it correctly. So we want to support the small of the back, wing the elbows forward a hair. This time what I want her to do to up the ante even more, I want her to simultaneously lift up her leg and her head at the same time and hold it there. And now power breathe. Good, stiff, stiff, drive your heel, drive your heel. There you go, right there. Good, 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 good. All right, relax. You can see her face, it upped the ante just a little bit just by lifting that leg a hair and power breathing. So as you can see, we could start very, very easy. Then we can always up the ante a little bit. You got anything you want to add there?
Yeah, so a lot of people, when they're doing this for the first time, and I'll have you do it wrong, we'll just do a rep, and I want you to bring your head up even more, right there. You'll see them drive their head up really, really far. And one of the things that Mcgill has said to us in the past is, the higher up you bring your head, the easier the exercise is. So when Brian was mentioning your head position, bring it all the way down. Imagine that head is on a scale, and you want it to read 0. That amount of movement is so small, and the least amount of movement you can do on this exercise, the better with your head. So bring it up just a little bit, and all of a sudden, you start feeling it a lot more. I know a lot of people that have tried this and that they just haven't felt it, right? It's because they're bringing that head up way too far.
Yeah, and they don't understand how to stiffen. So they're sucking in air and you're pushing out laterally. You're not trying to push your back into the bench like or into the ground like a Pilates move. You are stiffening and you are pushing out laterally. That's what we're focusing on here, as if you're going to take a gut punch. So when sometimes I'll feel, and I'll go around at a seminar and I'll be like, "You're not hard, pretend like I'm about to step on you," and all of a sudden they'll get super stiff.
Right.
So sometimes I don't want you super stiffening. I want you to stiffen up as if you're going to take a gut punch. That's the way we want you to do it. We don't want the leg coming off the ground very much. Now I will make a note, some people need to move their head a little bit more than other people, but it's still not going to be a full-on curl up. So what I'll say is lift your head enough to get full abdominal activation. So just enough to come up, get it nice and hard, power breathe, or hold your air for 10 seconds. And this is a very good start, and this kind of wraps